patterns of happiness are frameworks that always work. They are tools and practices that will bring permanent change to your life for better. We're not looking for temporary solutions. We change and transform. We practice what we preach, and we're gonna share it with you here. Be careful, because you can become seriously happier today. How did you come to this moment in your life when you started teaching people to open their hearts? And they say that the healer is the healed. So what brought you to this moment in your life?
It's a long story, just to say. I have always, from a very early childhood, I have a deep longing to find the truth about myself and about life, and meaning of this life. From very early age, I would say, I was already probably 10 or 11, I start to ask myself, who am I? What is life? And the question is, if I would be born in America instead of Italy, or if I would be born in Russia, would it be myself as well, or I would be different? So this kind of question, and then later on, it took me to, I started already study and learning meditation when I was a teenager, but I was not really satisfied. I enrolled into psychology. I studied psychology for many years. I eventually became a researcher for a while and a professor for a while. But the road of knowing was becoming drier, in the sense that I was accumulating a lot of knowledge. And I remember I was in a huge crisis when I was 27, 28. I knew everything possible by psychology, but nothing could help me. Mm-hmm. And then luckily I bumped again to Osho, and I started to read his book, and I started to practice his meditation. It helped me to really see the life I was following was wrong, And I say to myself, I want to live on the beach. I want to do windsurfing at that time, because I was loving windsurfing, and I want to work with people. So I quit my job as a scientist at the university and moved on to the beach. And I started to be a normal, ordinary clinical psychologist to work with people. That was making me fulfilled. Even though I was not knowing where I was going, I didn't know who I was in a way. But be with the people in their pain and their suffering was giving meaning to my life. And then I start a journey to myself. I start to doing experience through groups. I was starting to take the dust out of my heart. Groups, as you have participated, I've been participating, and then it took me like many years to come closer to myself. Eventually, I come to other important process because of the background I have as a psychologist. Then I became also a facilitator of this kind of groups, where there is a tools where we can help people to really get in touch with themselves in a short time with device of meditation and presence. The key is basically to help the people to open up, to open their feelings, to open their heart. Your episode you share just now, just an example of what is the power of being vulnerable and open your heart and sincerely speaking from your heart. So that's become my kind of job and profession, to help people to open up and to be sincere with themselves, to be sincere with their feelings. Yeah, just shortly, my life.
Thank you. Just a quick question. I guess you have thought about it for many times, but what was in psychology, or what is there in psychology that didn't work for you? I mean, what's the difference between the Osho practices that you tried and psychology that you missed, that you lacked? Because I guess some listeners may know, but I guess some don't know about the Osho practices and Osho groups as well.
Psychology is amazing science, it's beautiful, and there is a many branch in psychology. People sometimes when they think about psychologists, they think about psychotherapy, as a science to help people to heal or to find out about themselves. But psychology is a huge science, is a neuropsychology, is a science that help people in many different contexts. And when it comes to a place to help people in their quest of who they are, in their quest, what is my life, it become a little bit like not so powerful. Because the psychology is a very young science. You think about it, came into the world with Freud around 120 years ago. But humanity and man is living in planet Earth for much longer, for thousands and thousands, millions of years, if we look at this history of humanity. So I guess probably from the man of Neanderthal, and the very first man that come out from the monkey, let's say, I guess out of his intelligence that he make him to survive and reproduce and spread to all over the planet, I guess it come also a moment where he asked, who am I? What I'm doing here? And probably looking at in the dark night, looking at the Milky Way with these thousands and millions of little lights down in the sky, he asked what they're about, what is trees about, what is sun, what is life? I think it's very human question to ask, what are you doing here? Is about eating, reproducing, and breathing all about my life. I guess it is for an animal. An animal doesn't have a capacity to inquire in himself. And I guess this happened already millions of years ago. So in millions of years, man and humanity have found many different tools and ways to know about this truth. Even if you think about, for example, to South America, Maya, Azteci, Tolteci, Olmeci, they have an incredible deep science to help themselves to find out who they are, what they're doing on these planets. It's quite astonishing that at that time, and we are talking about 600-700 years ago, that civilization, they have a knowledge about astronomy that was quite shocking without having any instrument to know about the sky, to know about the stars, to know about the movement of the planets. And they have that knowledge. As well, they have a knowledge to help people to find out who they are, what their mission in life, why they are here. They have that knowledge. As well, the Egyptian, they have that knowledge. As well, in Tibet, even before Buddha was born, So in the humanity, in different civilization, there is this knowledge that is much, much ancient than psychology. If you're looking for, you can find that knowledge in the Veda, in the Dhammapada, in the inscription of the Egyptian, in the pyramids. There is this understanding, and is available. Of course, we live in a culture of strong civilization, and, psychology is a quite a popular science, so people are looking for there, but hardly found meaningful answer.
Right now, I checked your site and I saw that you have 3 major groups: Fly, the Passive Love, and also Primal. I wanted to ask you about Primal. I want to ask you, do you see it this way from your practice, that all the problems come from childhood and that we actually need to work with all the issues and to remember everything that happened there to heal and to become different, to change?
Yes, it is an important step in terms of the wounds, because the wounds in ourselves crystallize and they stay very much into our unconscious mind. So it's very important, powerful, if we will look at these wounds. But basically what Primal does, opposite of what the people think. People think they go to a Primal to look at your wounds or what your parents has done to you. It's make you against your parents. And definitely there is deep anger towards the parents that is being covered up, because it's very dangerous for a child to, when he's get hurt from their parents, to express his anger, because if he does, the risk for the child that is get abandoned. That's what the child think. I cannot express the anger towards my mom and dad, because if I do, they will abandon me. And if they abandon me, I lost, I die. So we do have inside of ourselves, all of us, even with the most amazing parents, we do have crystallized anger. And this is such a powerful source that we cannot access because of the fear. So there is a crystallized anger towards a parent. There is a fear that if we express, we get abandoned. Yeah. So there is this, let's say, cold energy inside ourselves. So Primal, it helps you to unfrozen this energy and to use this energy to move into life. Because anger is not just anger, but it's just angry energy by per se. But anger is the source of our sexuality, is the source of our love, is the source of our creativity. So the roots is a person who can be angry. But the energy is, when it's free, is moving to many other sources like sex, love, eventually in meditation into prayer too. So unfreezing this energy, melting this energy is helping a human being to become much more complete and much more stronger because he can access much more energy. And the people think they may be angry with their parents for the rest of their life. And actually, it's very much the opposite. You free this energy, and the moment you free this energy, you also see that your parents are just simple human being. Your parents are, once upon a time, they were a kid, child that had been hurt. And if you go deeper into the inquiry, if you go deeper into the investigation, you find out most of the time, the hurts of your parents is the same hurt that you receive. You receive the hurts from your parents because they've been hurt in the same way from their parents. And if you go even deeper to that, you see that their parents have been hurt as you've been hurt. So it's a chain of repetition of these wounds. So doing Primal, somehow you stop this. Probably you have a great chance to not pass this wound to your child, And also when you get in contact with the fact that your parents has been wounded as a little girl, as a little boy, definitely bring tremendous compassion for your parents. Just thinking about how your father felt when your mother slapped him, when his mother slapped him, how your mother felt when she was left in the orphanage at the age of 5. If you think about not only for your parents, but for any other kids in the planet that receive the wounds, it brings tears to your eyes, because a child that gets hurt is bring tears, bring a sadness. So it brings tremendous compassion for your parents. And when this compassion arises, an incredible healing happens to your heart. Then you understand, then you are able to let go of your wounds. Vice versa is not. We always stay very resentful to our parents, and then we poison any kind of other relationship that we have in life. We fall in love with the man that somehow resemble our father. We fall in love with the woman somehow resemble our mother. A resemble means that they resemble with the same kind of wounds we receive. So in a way, we still projecting. In a way, our relationship go into the mess because of this projection.
I have a daughter. She's 3 years old right now. When I was 18, I imagined that my daughter would never cry. But what I found out is that it's just impossible. I mean, something is always happening, and I'm doing my best, always trying to be conscious and definitely stopping myself from leaving some scars in her heart too. Whenever I feel that I'm getting too emotional, I just breathe out and I just remember, okay, I experienced something similar in my childhood, so I don't want to take it to her. So I just go to toilet and sit there for some time and breathe out. But still, it's impossible. Sometimes she cries for her own reasons, not because I did it, but she has her own reasons. But it's not easy to be a parent for sure. I've read one post on your page about that in Italy, a boy was found who was abandoned by his mother. And you shared that it's the worst thing a child can experience, to hear that he is no longer loved or that his parents don't need him. And even just reading it brings me to tears, actually. When people see this, when people remember this, then they have to take responsibility, I guess. then I mean they have to take responsibility for what they feel? Or how would you describe this process between the healed child and the parent? It's the process of the child taking responsibility for everything he experienced and as a child, and no longer blaming his parent for that. Because what you also shared right now, you said that sometimes people keep on blaming their parents for all of their life and they just stay resentful. So it's not about telling them that, you know, you did that to me and I still owe you, but it's just kind of integrating it in your heart and just keep on being with your parents, not trying to fix them in any way. You see it this way?
Yes. You ask many questions in one question. No, but it's good. I just want to, first of all, tell the dynamic inside the child. So the child, he make himself responsible for everything. If a parent, for example, drink and is an alcoholic and is turning nasty towards the family, towards the child think it is about him. Dad drink because I'm not lovable. Dad doesn't come early to home to play with me because I'm not good enough. So the child is always making himself. He doesn't think about the parents unless the child become a little adult. You know, on the teenager time, you start to really see your parents. But before, everything wrongness that happened in the family, the child take as his personal. Then what happened when you become a teenager, there come a time you start to say, hey, wait a moment. It's not about me. It's about my mother. It's about my dad. And then is the time where the most difficult moment happen between parents and child. They are no more a child. They become a young adult. So big fight. The young man or the young woman start to see, it's not my fault. It's my mother's fault. And of course, sometimes depend on the level of the wounds we receive. There is people who are being resentful to their parents to the rest of their life. And also to take every responsibility on yourself as the child does is not good. To throw it all the responsibility on your parents is not good either. So what is the way? The way is the understanding that, first of all, everything that happening into your life, you are responsible. Even sometimes the Buddhists have this saying that is very beautiful. They say, if you walk under a building and from a terrace, a stone, a brick fall into your head, it's your fault. And they say, how come it's my fault? Yes, because you choose the moment, you choose the building. So you are the one who choose to pass under this terrace, you know? So it's look quite absurd, but why it's so powerful to start to tune that everything that happened in your life is your responsibility. Because the moment you start to have this, then you start to develop a possibility to change. Even if you have a situation with your husband or with your wife where you clearly feel is their responsibility, but to find in painful situation, whatever painful situation you are, or whatever joyful situation you are responsible. That gives you a chance to change your life. Because the moment you say it's other people's fault, then you cannot change it. How you can change it if somebody else's fault? I like this word responsibility, because basically it's two words. Is you can divide in respond and ability. Ability to respond. So a person who takes responsibility of his life, he takes the ability to respond moment to moment. And this gives you tremendous power to change, you know, even if sometimes it's very, very difficult. And it is difficult to understand that you are responsible, because it's very strong mind conditioning, you know. The mind make you blame, the mind make you complain, the mind make you victim, and the mind make you throwing responsibility outside. With this attitude of your mind, you cannot really change your life. So in the primal, we start to look, yes, you have the wounds, your parents were what they was, free yourself from the wounds, free your heart from the pain, and start to tune with the fact that you are responsible for your life. It doesn't matter what your parents give to you. It doesn't matter how hurt you've been from your parents. Free yourself. What we do in the primal, we bring people into their childhood to feel their wounds and to free themselves from their wounds. And then we support people to become mature without the energy of these wounds, and mature to the point that they say, oh yes, I have my strengths, I have my power, and definitely I can change my life. That's what people usually feel after the primal process. They can feel they're free from all the weight they receive from their parents, and yet they're empowered to change their life, you know.
When I listen to you, I get somewhere. I feel something. It's not just a regular conversation. I just feel it very much. I wanted to ask you about some tools maybe that you could share with listeners that they could already apply today. Maybe they could do some meditation in regards to their parents, or maybe something else you could advise to explore actually this primal aspect that you were talking about.
Yes, well, a very simple techniques that can advise to everybody. I don't want to enter into the field of meditation, because the field of meditation is, it's not that it's complex, because by definition, meditation is to be present to whatever it is. Boom, that's it. But to learn the art of it, it takes probably years, to be present when you're happy. It's easy. To be present when you're making love, it's easy. To be present when you're angry, to be present when you're hurt, but that's basically the heart. So if I can suggest to any simple device that work powerfully to people, when you have problems, when you lost the key of your car and you cannot find it, the suggestion is stop. Whatever you are, when you have any situation, stop. If you can, even standing, stop, close your eyes and do nothing. Just be totally there with the eyes closed, present to yourself. That's it. It can be 5 minutes, 10 minutes. That's enough. After quarreling with somebody where there is a lot of agitation, where there is a fight, just stop for a moment. If in the middle of a fight with your girlfriend or with your boyfriend, you just stop and you close your eyes and you feel something change also into the other person. This is very simple. Yeah, it is. Even in the middle of a day, into a work situation where you're crazy with things, even when you have so many things you need to do it, and you don't have a time to do all of them, and you're rushing from one thing to another thing, stop and do nothing. And just for 10 minutes, and suddenly what happened, you see that the time start to expand. And suddenly what you thought that you could not have all the time that you need for doing what you need to do, suddenly you start to, some different things start to emerge from yourself. It's a chemical things, it's a brain energy things that happen, that science measure with the machine. When you stop and you close your eyes and you feel yourself and you relax your body without doing anything, even with your thoughts in the mind, that's totally fine. Do not stop your thoughts, just be there with your thoughts. But when you stop and you close your eyes, your brain activity go for beta, that is the frequency of your brain, to alpha. So basically what happened, beta is at 25 cycles per second. Alpha is just the half of it, 12, 13 cycles per second. So the brain activity, the vibration of the brain just reduce from half, from 25 of beta activity go to alpha. And this brings the brain in connection to different sources inside that were not available when you are in the beta activity. So just to stop, even for 5 minutes, and feel yourself. Close your eyes and feel yourself. There is no need to go to Himalaya. There is no need to go to, whatever exotic, mystical journey. It's beautiful. I did all of them. It's not that I did. They're beautiful. But sometimes the most powerful things can happen when you are in your desk at the job, when you're in your house with your kids. Just stop for a minute. You can even try for a moment with your young child. You can tell them, now we do an experiment of stop. I show to you, and you as a mom, you just close your eyes and you just be present with your child. And child say, Mom, I say, just an experiment. Just we close our eyes for a moment, just be there with that child. They can very receptive. They can know these things very well because they can really feel it. Don't need to do half an hour, just 5 minutes, boom, simple like that. And you see immediately there is a shift of something inside and outside.
I'll definitely do that with my daughter. I already imagined. I think she's getting into age when she can try it. She can take this game up as well. Even right now, even when we talk about parents, but especially when you talk about meditation, what I feel from you is passion. I want to ask you, is this something purely Italian, or is it something you discovered in yourself when you started asking yourself who you are? Is it something everyone can learn or not?
No, it's not about Italians. Of course, Italians are Latin people. It's about be a seeker of true. When you come closer to the true, it brings you enthusiasm for life. And if you think about this word enthusiasm, these words come from Greek. It means enteo. Theo means God, means fill up by God. So when you start to come close to the truth, you feel that your heart is full of the divine. And the divine is pure joy, pure passion, pure longing. And more you are close to the truth, more you want to have the truth, and more you want to have a people discover their truth, more you want to bring this beauty of life to other people. So this is just, I think it's probably 30 years of searching that is coming, and it's true, I'm getting hold of it, but more and more passionate, more and more, and I do feel I have a much more energy of what I have 15 or 20 years ago. It's like I feel my heart is even, but literally even more energy, really. I can run faster, longer, doing more things, The good things when you are aging, you don't need so much time to sleep. The body needs less time to sleep. So I have a lot of time for meditating, reading, and doing things. So you grasp something about my being, basically, because I like meditation very much. So the divine is really filling my heart all the time. So the good eye to recognize this.
Thank you for sharing. Is there any way people can connect with you? If they listen and just realize that they want to get in touch with such a passionate meditation and group facilitator, is there any way or something you would like to share where they can find you?
Yes, they can just Google sambhavo.com and they can find everything. They found the program, the groups that I'm leading, not only in Italy, but in many other places, like in India, in Israel, in Mexico, in many other places. I would love one day to come back to Ukraine, to Kiev. It was really long time. It was a long time ago I was there, probably 8-10 years ago. There was a really...
We met in 2011, so it was 8 years ago, a little less than 8.
2011, wow, 8 years ago. So it was a very long time there. I remember the beauty of the people, the sensitivity of the people, and I really like it. I like all the eastern part of Europe. They have a much more, according to me, I work in all possible countries in this planet. I found the people much more in contact with their depth. Of course, when you're in contact with your depth, you also are scared about their depth and they try to suppress this. But the more intelligent people, they're really very, very sensitive, very, very beautiful. So I have a really good memory of that part of the planet when I met people there. So sambhavo.com, it's a way where they can find out groups and meditation that I'm doing, and that's it.
I will also put the link in the description of the podcast. Sambhavo, thank you very much for your time. Not only for the listeners, but also for my heart. It was really healing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Dimitri. Thank you to you.
We'd love to see you one day in person again.
Yes, I hope so. So have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, my friend. Bye-bye. Have a good day.